Welcome to the MikeDrop podcast. This is episode 13, video tips and tricks. And I'm here with the irreplaceable Mike Compitello. And my name is Mike Truesdell. Hi, Mike.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Excellent, sir. How are you?
Oh, great, great. Once again, we have stumbled on the very thing that is the topic of our episode. We talk about tech tools, our tech fails,
Yeah.
and then we talk about video, and then I can't get my video to work. So I
Nope,
appreciate your patience. I think at this point I've moved from irreplaceable to replaceable.
First things first. If the people who are listening, the person who is listening, doesn't know already, we have a couple episodes that are out already released, and we have more coming in the future. And we are talking about video today, so we thought maybe it'd be nice to have this be also videoed. So somebody might be listening to this audio only, or they might be listening to it on the video. And if you're watching the video, then you can see I've got one of the amazing, here I'll stand up a little bit,
Look at that.
MikeDrop t-shirts. Look at that with the logo,
That is
courtesy
a
of
great T-shirt.
the amazing Sean Tilburg.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess we didn't ask Sean if he was okay with us saying his name.
Well, he
Sorry,
is now. No. I think he's proud that he made this shirt.
Sorry.
If I could speak for Sean. So it's nice. And this is giving new stuff for people that are bored listening to us to look at.
Yes.
What is in the background? That's not a table. That shouldn't be a table.
Nope. But it is.
It is now. I can see remnants of our previous episodes. Mallets that you have chosen to use, a Billy Hyde practice pad. I can see all sort of the detritus of our previous conversations behind you now.
Yeah.
Look
The
at that.
video can't really see it, but my Billy Hyde practice pad.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Someday I'm hoping maybe I can put some MikeDrop posters up right here.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you wanted to go full YouTuber, you would need some sort of like flag behind you with those strip lights. So
I
some sort of
love
like
that.
pirate flag that says MikeDrop on it. Or for a while you had an Ithaca College one. What if you just made something that was easy to replace depending on how your loyalties change?
Okay, you heard it here first. If we can get a way to make this t-shirt into a flag, it's going right there.
Yeah. Canvas flag.
All right,
it.
well, we can work on that.
Okay, so for today, a couple things.
Yep.
One is that we'll try to be a little bit less loquacious than normal. And then this we wanted to talk about making videos because this is something that's become a big part of what we do as musicians, and I've noticed a big part about what my students do, and it's primarily the way that I consume new music now, too. What kind of videos do you want to talk about making? Because as we were preparing, I was thinking, okay, there are music videos,
Yeah.
right, which is very a big part of the contemporary and classical music landscape now. There are videos of live performances. So it's like a highly skilled recording of a live performance. And then I was thinking, do you think there's another category that's sort of audition tape where that person is in sort of a windowless room playing a Schumann symphony or something like that? Can you think of another type of video that somebody might need to make?
Something that I wouldn't make or haven't really made, but something that you do quite a bit is the kind of like social media videos.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a totally different thing.
What about an instructional video? I've made a lot of those that I haven't released, but
Right.
they're in the vault. In the vault,
I
Jerry.
love that.
No, but
Yeah, how about I think let's see if we can touch on all of them.
yeah. I think the one that people seem to have the most questions about, at least for me, is this sort of music video thing. You know, you and I have made one. We both made some individually, primarily with Evan and Kevin at FourTen Media. But
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I get asked the most about the process for making those. So do you think we could walk through what that experience is like from bean to bar, so to speak?
I think that we have maybe slightly different ones, but maybe we can start. I know that you have a life before this, and I have a life before this, but maybe we can start with the Retrouvailles video by Georges Aperghis.
I think that's actually pretty representative of what
Yeah.
working with Evan and Kevin is like, right? So I guess phase one was learn the piece of music.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe even the step zero is have an idea.
Oh crap! You're always going to the appropriate level before me. Yeah, have an
But
idea.
do
Decide what to do. Yeah, thanks.
so, but I think this was your idea because we had both watched that like really brilliant video that
Yes.
exists already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we thought, okay, we can put a different spin on this, and it's a piece that we both really came to and were passionate about.
Yeah, for sure.
So we started with just like I think you were the one that mentioned it. You said, "Hey, can we're I've been watching this Retrouvaille video. I think this would be a really cool thing for us to do." I think we had played that Klatzow in
We
Kansas
did.
already.
Yeah, we did. We played a single duo in which we played a game of diminuendo chicken. You got so soft, and I tried to get really soft, and then eventually we faded to nothingness seconds before the piece was supposed to end. But
And it was just
just sound waves, low hertzes in the
yeah.
space.
Uh, yeah, it's
Yes.
like it was like the beginning of Forrest Gump, like the feather
Yes.
slowly
Yeah.
drifting.
So we had
Um,
the idea, and then I think the we had this thought starting out that how far can we get without actually having to play a concert?
I remember that.
So the
We got very
the
far.
thought, yeah, until somebody called our bluff and hired us to play a concert. But
Okay,
so
so
we got to we had the idea, and then we
yep,
almost immediately had the idea that this needs to be a recording,
yep,
and then sort of maybe it's obvious, but it doesn't seem so obvious that it should probably be a video recording and not
yeah.
just an audio recording because there are a lot of moments of silence. There's a lot of stuff that if you just listen to might sound uninteresting, I guess. How did I just assumed we jumped to that conclusion? Is that right?
Oh, definitely. Because if we were going to document the piece at all, or just even in that first part of the piece where you're supposed to play without or move your hands on the each
Oh
other's
yeah,
backs
yeah.
without playing, without
Hmm.
making sound, like even just that is enough. I mean, how joyful is it to like watch a Globocar or listen to a Globocar, like listen to Corporel.
Yeah,
Like you don't buy the CD of Corporel.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I think it's the same thing.
Yeah, totally, totally. So we had that idea, and then we both had made some videos before, I
Mhm.
think. And I can just speak for myself, like I always do, but I'll speak by covering you up. Is that that I had been, the traditional way of making videos of classical music is to record yourself playing the piece, right?
Yep.
And I think over time I've realized that I love the ability in a recording studio to do more effective edits, especially for percussionists, because we tend to play music that's sort of at the limit of what we can play. And that the recording process for the video was significantly easier if I had already done the audio. It allowed for kind of more interesting angles, and at some point my tastes diverged where like there's a recording of a live concert and I don't really want to watch that. I'd rather go to the live concert. And then there's a recording of that's a, sort of more up close, a more music video where the video can speak to or highlight some elements of the music that are already there. So I'd kind of already had it in my mind that a music video style, and I'm talking like 90s MTV style, would be more appropriate for this than a video of us on stage performing the piece, which might be good for getting a grant or something like that. Is that sort of how you're thinking as well?
Totally. Yeah, and I think we didn't really know what we wanted the video to look like necessarily, as I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And we met at Avalock Farms
That's right.
right? And we did like our preliminary rehearsals and trying to get like kind of a concept for this piece of how we're going to play it. And I
Hmm.
remember you were so busy with doing a million other projects. So I had some time to just walk around just chanting the second movement to myself.
That's right. Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so that was great. And we got a sense of like how we want the musical part to feel.
Hmm.
And honestly, I know we had the video in mind that had been previously made,
Yes.
but we didn't have in mind necessarily what this was going to be. So I think we reached out to Evan and Kevin, like right there at one of our first rehearsals when we realized
Yes.
like this has to be videoed,
Hmm.
and we got a chance to at least get them in the conversation.
Hmm.
So the setting of the video and like the diner was something that came a much later, and I think it came from them.
It did come from them, and this is their genius, is that they can toe the line between kind of showing a piece of music and then also they will bring to the project a really good idea about
Yeah.
the way to do that. And sometimes when people bring in their ideas, it sort of changes, it shakes the omelet enough that the whole thing disintegrates. And sometimes it actually heightens it. So the diner was their idea because we were looking for locations to
Yep.
film, and they said, "What about this place, Joe's Diner?" And then at the same time, I think maybe I'm misremembering that they had just purchased some lights that could go to
Okay.
any color, and so they said, we were inspired by a recent episode of that TV show Riverdale, and we wanted to use these neon lights and this diner, and we thought, great, that's where we'll do it. So I don't remember us having any stronger opinion than that. Is that
Nope.
correct?
Oh yeah, and we could see it like
Yeah,
right there. We could see
that's right.
what
That's
the
right.
I think they sent some other things. It had been used in some TV shows before. It was Bob's Diner. Is that
Bob's
right?
Diner. Sorry, yeah, it was in
Yeah.
an Adam Sandler Halloween movie too.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So for us, basically, that process, and once we locked down the location, we realized that we have actually like to the second 3 hours
Yes.
to load in, uh, do as many takes of this whatever it is, 10-minute piece or something. Is it
Mm-hmm,
10?
mm-hmm.
I can't remember. And so do all these things, set up the lights, set up the cameras, get the angles, try to get the blocking down. And we really had a very short amount of time to do it, 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, okay, there's no way that we could effectively get the visual that we want,
Mm-hmm.
without these impeding stands and microphones, and get this thing done in 3 hours, without uh, and get the performance that we really want, because that's maybe the most important thing, uh, without pre-recording. So we decided to pre-record it, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And you came out to where I was working in Colorado,
That's
and we
right.
recorded there in the studio, um, edited everything, made it to be the like as perfect as we could, as we wanted, with the vibe that we wanted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember we tried to get the perfect sound of the cork coming out of the
Yes,
bottle?
I think we did 10 or 15 takes of that. That was great,
And we
and
did it.
we
Like
nailed
that
it.
was the
It was so
that's the
good.
best one.
Yeah. No, I remember, that the advantage to doing something like this is that, especially with percussion, is that it can really sound exactly like you sound up close. You could
Yeah.
get stuff really close. You could get good sounds. The one issue is that I can't snap with my left
Right.
hand as well as my right hand. So I think I just did them all with my right hand or something, just um, to go forward. And also, there's this notion, the element of memory. The piece is kind of difficult to memorize, and so we were able
Yeah.
to record it more in chunks and be able to
Yeah.
sort of tackle our parts that way, which
Yeah.
was really helpful. So yeah, we
And
did
and
that.
then we practiced with the recording, and you can get
Yes.
a sense of like the pacing and like alignment of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we like each practiced with the recording, and then we came together, and I think we met at the Philly airport and tried to do the first
We
movement
did the first movement
cold,
in the airport. Yeah, that's right.
to a few looks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I remember when I first started working with Evan and Kevin, I had this thing that I have to do it live because there's no way the music I play I could possibly play along with a recording of myself.
Yep.
And so I did a number of recordings with them where they did the audio and the video. But then at a certain point, I realized actually I'm remarkably boringly consistent. So it's pretty easy. So I think what we did was we had the recording and then we added in some extra like metronome clicks if there was a big pause or something like
Yeah.
that. So
And I still do that.
yeah,
You
me
know, just
too.
you have to start on time. So at
Yeah.
the very least, at the beginning of the piece, it's just got to go bing, bong, bong,
Yeah, and
bong.
then you're in. Bing bong 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 and then you are rustling your shirt.
Yeah. So then we did it. We rehearsed in that Airbnb in
That's right.
Philly,
Yeah.
and then we went to Bob's Diner and we ate and cased the joint.
That's right. We had such a limited amount of time. We needed to scope it out.
So we had lunch. Yeah, lunch and maybe dinner with them.
I think
And
we
I
had two
think we
meals
like
in a row. Yeah. This place.
we may have regretted
It
that.
was tough.
And then I think even for that like kind of dinner time, I think we decided to like have a dinner and then be there when the clock struck 8.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And Evan and Kevin brought in the gear, and I remember like time ticking away after 8 o'clock,
Yes.
and because there were still customers in
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and gosh, we were trying our best. But yeah, so the Evan and Kevin were like champions, like trying to throw all the lights together, and we ended up using 100% their lights, and
That's
they
right.
turned all the lights off in the room. But while they were setting up, you and I were kind of like trying to get a blocking.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what the essential part of what the video is going to look like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we were trying to figure out this, and then those guys had a pretty good idea of like what the framing, like the first part, like the first maybe two movements or whatever it is
Yeah.
is
Mm-hmm.
is going to be right there on the diner with the walkway.
Mm-hmm.
Then we moved to the booth,
Yes.
um, and so I think those guys had a ton of vision, and they saved the day really,
Yeah, definitely.
with being so prepared.
And in the end, it was really only one or two times through most of those movements, I think.
Yeah,
Not that many
we did
takes. Yeah.
twice through the first part, and then I think the part at the booth we did a maybe like 3 or 4,
Hmm.
and then we had to like boogie out of there. We had
That's
to like
right.
run out of the room.
Yeah. Um,
But then afterwards, those guys are just experts, and they kind of did a first run of the edit,
yeah. Very quickly.
and
Yeah.
then then it's up to us. And after you see it for the first time, I mean, for me, I'm going through this stage right now with some videos, and when you first get that first link of here's the first cut,
Oh, yeah.
the feeling that you get in that when that comes in the inbox is elation
Oh, yeah.
and dread.
Yes. Totally. Totally. It reminded me
Because
of college admissions. You know, you get the email that's like your application to McAllister University. Like, oh crap, couldn't you just told me in the subject line?
I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I was watching something about like Tom Brady the other day, and
Hmm.
when they played the Giants in the Super Bowl, the helmet catch
Oh
one,
yeah, yeah.
and you know like you just don't want to look
Yes.
when the other person's got the ball,
Yeah.
because like you know that it could be great or terrible
Yeah, for
for you.
sure.
And that's the first edit.
Yes.
Like this could be like I know how much I messed up. I know like and I can't change any of the footage anymore.
That's right. Yeah.
So I don't know, what do you do? What's that like for you? For me
It's very
it takes me a
stressful.
week.
It's really
Yeah.
stressful, and I do this thing with Evan and Kevin and other videographers where, especially if I'm playing a piece from a composer that I've been working with, I'll sort of send, knowing that they will have better ideas than I will, but I'll send them kind of general ideas of here's the vibe of this piece, or here's sort of the theme of this piece, to
Yeah.
basically to just try to stop me from being surprised in this way. No, I usually watch it like through my eyes, and the same way that you'd watch a horror movie or something.
Waiting for
It's
the
yeah, it's terrifying. Just it's less terrifying than when you're listening to the takes from an audio recording, because
Sure.
every one of those takes is going to end up with you stopping for some reason
Yep.
because of something that you will do. So you're just like waiting. What's the thing I'm going to do that will have forced me to stop
Yep.
in this movement? So I usually go through. I'll watch once, just sort of non-judgmentally, just for larger picture things, and then I'll try to get into the weeds in terms of, okay, is that lined up? Is that lined up? So I look for alignment, and then I start to look for maybe there's another version of this. Maybe if it's I don't look like I'm playing the right thing, or maybe there's another angle that I prefer or something. But I really like working with people that will generate the first version without me, because I don't feel capable of calling all of the video edits the way that I might with audio. What about you?
Yeah. 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 Same. I have been for the past uh I don't know, like maybe since after Retrouvailles,
Mm.
all the videos I've done with those guys, I have Notion pages.
Yes. Hmm.
And the Notion page has like all the kind of like hard facts details, like when it is and all that stuff. And then it has like uh, a toggle
Yeah.
heading for every video. And then in there, I have ideas about like the concept or the form of the piece or something that's important about the piece or anything that needs to be highlighted in the
Hmm. Hmm.
piece. And then the after that, it's like the clothing that I'm going to wear. That's kind of an important thing for me.
Hmm.
So that those guys have an idea and they can at least see the outfit in case like I show up with a checkered
And in
shirt or
fact, for
something.
this, we were texting photos back and forth of what we wanted to wear, and I think I found one shirt that would have destroyed their cameras. It was like checks on checks on checks, and
You just would have been vibrating the
yeah,
whole time.
that's so true. But I appreciate this because, when you're working with people that you know pretty well, you have a sense of what they're going to do. But sometimes you're working with people that are new collaborators, and for people to have such a big role, like a mastering engineer or a recording engineer or a videographer, they need to know everything that you know about the project, or they need
Yeah.
to be full, more fully collaborative than somebody who's just a recording studio where you can go and record your podcast or something like that. So you want them to
Yeah.
be engaged creatively because they're doing the part that people are actually going to see of the video. So I totally agree. Having some ideas about what you think it might be like, or leaving space for other people to have their own artistic vision. I think those are all really important. And in the case of this Retrouvailles video, I'm pretty sure, and you can correct me, that Evan and Kevin had seen this piece before,
Yeah.
right? Or they had some engagement with it at some point.
Yeah, because they came to Neefnorf and they saw it
Oh,
at Neefnorf.
okay,
I
okay,
think I had coached it that year. And so one of those guys was there to film the concert.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. So then that kind of like that process is back and forth and back and forth. And I start to feel guilty after a while. Like, hey,
Yes.
could this one get cut like 2 milliseconds earlier?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure. I did
and
one edit on my snare drum album where I was like, "Can you move this take a couple seconds earlier because it looks like I'm too desperate when I'm changing mallets." I was like doing one of those mallet changes where, aesthetics are not the most important thing right now. The most important thing is to pick up something else. So,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
and I think it's okay. Like, I mean, regardless of, what you feel in the moment, like there's a person to person interaction
Yes.
that will develop and ebb and flow over time. And you feel like you don't want to be a jerk in that moment to
Mm.
ask again for the same thing or ask a little bit uh, different thing or reverse your decision or something. You don't want to do that, but the thing that gets sacrificed is the thing that's going to be around literally forever,
Yes, that's true. That's true.
and
Sometimes I
the
think
personal
about it
interaction will always.
like this would be really easy to do if we were just in the same room. It may not
Yeah,
be cost effective, but the sort of, can I see that? Okay, cool. Can I see
yeah,
that? Okay. And with these bouncing revisions back and forth, that's kind of what you're aspiring to do. But I could imagine it being really fun to be just doing it at the same time as
yeah,
them. But you would need a videographer who's a really good editor, fast editor,
yeah,
if you know what I
yep,
mean.
exactly.
So I have
So
a I
then
have
that's
a
that.
oh yeah, I have a question
But
for you though.
oh, sorry.
Um,
Go ahead.
so this is something that's been on my mind with my students because a lot of them are
Yeah,
getting into making videos, and so much of our training was about performing live. What have you
yeah.
learned about practicing and preparing for making a recording and making a video recording? What are the preparatory steps? Because they're kind of different. Like playing well in an audio recording and then looking like you are killing it in a video recording are a little bit different than live performance. At least
Okay.
I think so. How do you get ready for this?
Number one is if you decide to pre-record
Mm-hmm.
your audio,
Mm-hmm.
or even if you decide to record live with an audio engineer and a
Yeah, yeah.
videographer,
Mm-hmm.
you have to tell them that you are recording this sound for video
Mm.
because the sample rate is different.
Yes. Strangely,
Number
almost a half
one.
step different. Yeah.
And so make sure you tell the audio engineer. If you don't know what that means, it's totally fine. But tell the audio engineer, I'm doing this for video,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to record at the video sample rate, which is 48,000 or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
48 somethings.
48
Um,
million. No.
yeah, kilohertz. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Rebecca's gonna be upset with me.
Yeah.
Um,
She's gonna
so
change the
the,
sample rate of this episode just to spite you.
So that's really important. That's number one is be really clear about communicating. Like it's going to be this, and then once it's time to do audio stuff, you can get the audio engineer and the videographers in touch, and then they
Mm-hmm.
can
Mm-hmm.
communicate and go back and forth about things that don't concern you. Um, but as far as like preparing, for me, I think a big part, if I do pre-record, then the big issue is alignment at the beginning. So I will listen to the track after I put in my clicks. I'll listen to the track, take a video of myself playing, and then listen back to the silent video and notice any issues.
Mm.
And sometimes an issue can be solved with a click, like adding a couple beats here and there if there's like a bunch of space, or there's a way to just memorize that spacing,
Mm-hmm.
just do it over and over again. So that's number one. If you decide to do it live, then that's awesome too. And for a piece like, was it Nina's piece that you played live
No.
on the? It was whose piece was it?
Amy,
Didn't you
Amy,
play
Amy
Amy's?
Beth Gerson's piece. Yeah,
Yeah.
I played that live.
So
Yeah. Um,
then you have a different thing. But I think the video element can help you because you may not realize the things that actually are important, the mallet changes or the shifting of weight. Um, I probably should have practiced the Retrouvailles with a video because I was making some goofy faces in it, but they ended up being okay.
I think they were great. I thought they were totally
Yeah.
purposeful. Um, well, there's this
Um,
also this other element of, if you want to make this kind of content, you have to pay more attention to how you look when you perform than I think either
yeah,
of us were really trained to do.
yeah,
We're very sound forward, at least in our generation. So you do have to sort of start thinking like, okay, is there a way for this to look like it sounds more, even more, or is there
yeah,
a way for, what would I want to highlight here, or that kind of thing? And if you're doing just the video, you have more options because you can have more camera angles going and stuff like that. But I totally agree. How does that has that changed sort of how you perform music? This idea of a real close-up video. It reminded me of when the Met Opera started to do those
Yeah.
on-demand things, and all of a sudden you see these people who are used to acting for 1,000 feet away, and you see them up close, and you sort of, I went like, that's terrifying. These people are crazy looking,
Yeah, and the
like
makeup that's really
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like stage makeup.
Yeah. So, yeah, how has that impacted you? Knowing that most of the time we're even choosing mallets for 200 feet away or something like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have many times in the videos that I've put out in the past few years, I have recorded with different mallets than I played with,
Same. Yeah.
because the
Sorry.
way that they look.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will tell you something that happened in the most recent videos that are going to come out sometime in the next few weeks. Um, I got there, and Evan and Kevin had this uh, amazing idea to do this entire piece in one camera shot, no cuts,
Whoa.
which is essentially like recording live.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought that was really beautiful, and I've loved it ever since that. Like, there's a Goodfellas
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. I was
one
thinking
camera
about
shot.
the Spice Girls "If You Want to Be" music video, which is also one shot. But that's cool.
Yeah, either one. But the thing that really inspired me before I saw the Goodfellas one
Uh-huh.
was Evan and Square Peg did a video that was in one shot where,
Yes.
do you remember
I
that?
bought it. It was amazing. I've watched it so many times.
That's one of the like real crowning achievements of single shot.
It's great. It's so
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
So I can't remember the name of the tune. I'm so sorry, but
It,
maybe
it,
we can link it in the
it's the
show
one with
notes.
the tree, right?
I was thinking of the one they did on the stage where
Oh,
they keep adding
yeah.
instruments.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Okay. Um, yeah, we got to link to that because that it's a real tour de force.
Yeah.
So.
So, but I was really inspired by that. And but anyway, when they brought this up was when I was there, like we hadn't talked about it before.
Uh-oh.
And so I thought, okay. And they said, hey, can you play this piece all the way through without stopping? And I said, amazingly, yes, I can. Um, so we decided to do it all in one take, but it's a shot where I don't actually play the whole way through.
Okay.
So I like walk up to the instrument and play,
I
not to
see.
give it away, but like I start not playing. I walk up to the instrument as the sound is playing, and then I just enter on the marimba.
Oh, cool.
Um, so the so as far as like preparation, I think flexible preparation is really important because this is going to be, if it comes out really well, it could be one of like the great videos that I've made in my life.
Wow. Yeah.
Because of this super cool concept. And if I wasn't prepared to like walk up to the instrument and where I was like, where when I approached the instrument,
Yeah.
just know where I am in the music. If I didn't know the piece that well,
Mm.
then their concept would have had to be diminished.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's probably also indicative of your relationship with Evan and Kevin. You know each other well enough that okay, this person can do it. Because I've seen some of their videos as well that are much more traditional, right? It's
Yeah.
not a live concert, but it's a music video, but it's much more sort of by the book.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a nice marker of our developing relationship that they suggested this diner thing. But I just love the idea that it's unusual for someone to say, so the piece you're recording, can you play it? All of it?
But they're so nice.
Yeah. Can you
But
actually
we
just run it? Are you able to play the piece that you claimed that you are going to record today?
Yeah, because I think it's the same thing. Like you and I are probably similar, that we're kind of the people who say yes to creative trials.
Yes, always.
So when they come to you and they say, "Hey, we've got an idea, why don't we do it in a swimming pool?"
Yeah.
The answer is, of course, like, of course. How is that going to work?
Yes. Yeah.
And then let's work it out later. But the idea is a yes. When they come in, they say, "Hey, we've got this idea. You could meet in a diner."
Yeah.
and we could say, well, but that they wouldn't meet in the diner, and wouldn't there be other people, and it doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah.
That's not how you and I work.
Yes.
And I think that helps them because if we're always going to say yes, for me, it's like, hey, can we record this in a forest? And
Yeah.
those guys are like, okay, let me see if I can figure that out.
Oh, was the forest your idea?
I think it was, I wanted it, I had the idea of doing it outside,
Okay.
because Liza Lim's piece has a reference to like stars and nighttime sky.
Okay.
So I wanted to do something where you could see the sky. And Evan said, I think I might have an idea about something, but we had to record it in December. So,
Oh, great. Well, I think this also just speaks to maybe a particular approach to collaboration. You know, some people are sole authors, right, where
mm,
they want to control everything, and I like this mentality of, in order for this project to be even better, I need to loop more people in, and I need to get more creative ideas. I need other people's, or I want other people's ideas on this project. You know, the idea that the person making the video is not just an employee, but they're sort of saying, this is how I want to do this thing. Does that fit with
yeah,
your vision? I actually think it heightens the music. I don't consider it like a laziness. I consider it sort of, that actually really makes your preparation even more powerful, right? So I'm into it, and I think the gauntlet has been thrown by you and your recent videos with them.
no,
But
same with you.
I don't know. But the stuff I've done with them, it's always been interesting because I think you and I are very inside baseball people. So some people in a recording session will just chill, but just like we talked about in our episode with Ryan Straber, I want to go up to him and say, like, what kind of microphone is that? What are you doing? Like, how is that thing working? How tall is that stand? Like, what are you setting up right now?
Yeah.
So I find that in my own preparation that I actually have to stop hanging out at some point and actually focus on my job, which is to play the piece.
Yeah.
Has that happened to you where you're sort of just like, it's so nice and comforting and interesting to be with these people, that at some
Yeah.
point you go like, wait a minute, I'm the one who's going to be on camera rolling soon, so I should probably practice my role.
Practice, eat,
Yeah,
um,
do something.
take care of yourself, like make sure that you're in a place because when that red light comes on,
Yeah.
in some ways it's a really harsh system
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you could be the nicest person in the world and we'll watch with compassion, but like it's just a matter of like, did you communicate what you're hoping to communicate?
Yeah.
And that's visual and audio, and it's a big team thing, but it's on you in the end.
That's true. And to be honest, in 2024, there's less space for a certain kind of performer in our video centric world. Some performers, train themselves to be expressive primarily sonically, and it's
Yeah.
it's hard to do that now.
Yeah.
But
I
totally.
have I mean, not to go on a little bit of a rant, but I do have opinions too. The I
Really?
I feel like I feel like I can see, the percussionist who trains with the visual in mind.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I can see that, and it makes me not want to watch.
Hmm.
There's right, the person who thinks, okay, I need to look like this instead of I'm communicating this idea through my music, and then that finds its way out through the gesture.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The gestures should heighten the musical idea, not exist without one or replace it.
Right.
I totally agree.
Yeah. For our circumstance, the Retrouvailles video, I want to try to embody what it feels like to reunite with somebody. And you and I had a lot of conversations about the concept, like what's going on here. We're not actually saying real words,
Yeah.
but what's happening? Like, how is their demeanor changing? And then that seeped into our subconscious a little bit.
Hmm.
And then whatever happens with the little facial things or the way that a gesture is done or the way that you move at the end of a note,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, like those things are found through those if you have already uh, developed the concept of your piece, as
Yes.
opposed to I want to look good, so I'm going to move my mallet this way,
Mm-hmm.
but you're just doing it superficially. So to anybody out there who's recording videos, if you can start from the middle and then let it come out through the gesture, it's going to be a much more powerful video, and you might discover something about yourself in the process.
Yeah. And I totally agree. It resonates. And I think it's something that's also sort of endemic in percussion as well. This sort of histrionics without content.
Yeah,
And it sort of, to me, it sort of takes us back a generation to a novelty instrument a little bit. You know, yeah,
absolutely.
I do think, and I agree with you, I think people can tell when there's a fusion of gesture and musical idea. And I believe, I think our whole careers are based on the belief that you can tell when that's not there as well. But I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Okay, we
Um,
don't have infinite time, but I wanna get your opinion about something else. So this is sort of a
okay.
rarefied air, right? The making of these music videos. What about something where you're recording like a live performance? What are some thoughts about that? So like live is still not live, but I had a teacher once that said a recording is something and a performance is something and never the twain shall meet. But there is this sort of weird thing, which is a recording of a live performance, which I still think counts as a live performance and not a recording. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I agree. The live aspect of playing will always trump the recording
Mm-hmm.
mentality. And the way that we perform on stage in front of one person is very different from how we play in a recording studio when that one person is behind a glass door.
Mm.
And I think that it should be different. It should be a different approach. I remember, I'm a Glenn Gould guy, and Gould talked about um, how Richter was one of the best pianists to see live,
Mm.
but he was a terrible recording artist.
Mm-hmm.
Even those recordings of the live concerts that are really tremendous to see
Mm-hmm.
and be at the recording the actual recording that you listen to, it's a different experience. You don't have the person in front of you. You can't feel that energy of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think, most recently, Yoon Lim, who won the Clyburn competition, just released the Transcendental Etudes from the semifinal round. And that's one of the best performances of the Transcendental Etudes that's probably ever been recorded. But it's a different experience,
Mm.
even to watch the video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I don't know how I would prepare different, except like it's a live performance that we're documenting, and that's why after the title on Apple Music it says live,
Mm-hmm.
because we have to eat it with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think?
I
What's your take on
totally
that?
agree. I mean, with the way that musicians are trained to play is to really adjust to the circumstances of the performance. So you might do things that really like distend or mess with the music that you might not want to on a commercial studio recorded CD, but because you're doing it because of who's there and what's going on and how they're doing it. And so yeah, I totally agree. And I was thinking that a kind of recording that people, especially like our students, have to do is getting a recording of a live performance. So I was thinking that you should just have the expectation that there are going to be mistakes, and the preference is for mistakes and for some sort of interpretive idea or some sort of going for it instead of kind of a completely safe thing. I was thinking about asking this because I've just been reviewing applications for school here,
Yeah.
and I actually am suspicious if there's like a perfect live recording. Sometimes, wow. Or I'm sort of, first of all, I'm honored that somebody who could do that would be auditioning for me, but then I'm sort of like, I'm not getting a full picture of you as a musician right now. So I don't know. Yeah, I totally agree though with what you said.
Even like Berlin Phil Concert Hall or
Mm-hmm.
the Carnegie things, they do patch sessions after that before the
Mm-hmm.
broadcast.
That's right. Yeah.
So you play, Yuja Wang plays 3 nights of Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that third night, the producers listen to all 3 nights, and then if there's anything that we're not covered on,
Mm-hmm.
there's a patch session at
Yeah.
the end of that concert. And sometimes those patch sessions can go until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it's just they get 30 minutes, and you gotta show up and play.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
But
yeah, so
that's the
that's the advice is that if you're a student and you have a live recording, do not judge yourself against other commercial live recordings because they are live, but they're not unedited live.
Yeah, and I think if you're going into the live recording with whether it is like actual live recording in front of an audience or it's live recording in front of a camera for a pre-screening thing or whatever,
Hmm.
and you have to go all the way through, um, yeah, I love what you said. Like, don't judge yourself by that, but also play to the live performance aspect. Like,
Mm.
go out and communicate instead of trying to play to fit into this box of accuracy that is falsely given to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what we want to listen to on a recording that we know is live is we want to hear the communication. We don't want
Mm-hmm.
to hear accurate if it's at the expense of communication. I'm sure
Yes.
there's a
Yeah.
boundary somewhere where uh, whatever the marimba from the Miss America pageant
Oh yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
There's probably a boundary somewhere,
Uh-huh.
but but for anybody who's prepared and going about this process, you probably have that ability
Yeah.
to
Totally.
communicate accurately enough.
Mm. Well, our timer has rung, and
Oh, and I know we didn't get to all these things. Maybe we should come back and touch on this the other kinds of video sometime.
I
Or
think
I know there's
so.
probably more things.
Well, I mean, I think talking about this sort of music video thing was sort of our stated goal, and I blindsided you.
Oh
There's all
no, I
sorts of
love it.
ways to talk about this too, like how do you do this cheaply, or how do you, what are the things that are really worth spending or investing in versus not? Should you do all this yourself?
Yeah.
If you're capable of doing it all yourself, should you? Or there's all sorts of elements there that I think are all variable in some way.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but we'll come back.
That's
We'll have to
amazing.
come back to it, and by then I'll have a T-shirt too.
T-shirts. I don't know. Should we sell these?
I think so.
Right now it's just something that Mike and I and kind of the MikeDrop team has.
Yeah, I would say if we could sell them like a reverse commission, like if you buy this, we will stop making podcasts.
Right. We have to sell enough.
Yeah. If we sell $1,000 of T-shirts, we'll stop. We will leave you alone.
We'll leave you alone. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll stop releasing. Well, anyway, for anybody who's watching, stay tuned for more releases on anywhere you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, etc.
Hmm.
Um, for some more of the audio things. This is our first venture into the video. So we'll see if that sticks. But feel free to reach out, let us know how you think things are going, and if there's any any suggestions you might have for upcoming episodes. We're happy to not only talk about what we're interested in, but what you're interested in.
Yeah, I think we've proven we can be interested in basically anything.
Basically, anything. This is amazing. Well, thank you,
All
Mike.
right. Thank you, Mike. Until next time.
All right, bye, everybody.